They found him still, not dead like in the movies. No drama, no chaos, just gone. Slumped in that recliner, the one he always said was his throne. Remote loose in hand, the same game show rerun flickering blue light across his bare legs. Robe open, heart closed, and the house, quiet in that wrong kind of way. Not peaceful, empty, the kind of quiet that doesn't mean sleep, the kind that smells like absence. His family said natural causes. Neighbors said he seemed fine. Doctors signed the papers. But I've seen that look before, and I'll tell you what really took him. Not stroke, not heart, not cancer. What killed him was the slow erosion of a man who forgot he mattered. I'm Dr. Everett Cain, urologist, 25 years in the trenches of men's health. And I've helped thousands of men face what most doctors are too afraid or too polite to say aloud. So let me be blunt. That man didn't die from disease. He died from disconnection. He died from giving up the one thing that made him feel alive, himself. Because when a man stops touching his own skin, stops sending signals to his own nervous system that I'm still here, when he gives up the fire, the friction, the quiet rituals of self-respect, the body doesn't say thank you. It starts writing the will. Blood stops flowing to the places that once knew glory. Nerves stop firing. Testosterone flatlines. Organs, especially the ones that make you feel like a man, go dormant. Then they calcify, and so does your spirit. You think this doesn't apply to you? You'd be surprised how fast it creeps. First, your morning wood disappears. Then your mood flattens, your sleep breaks, your walk turns into a shuffle, and suddenly, you're the ghost in your own house. See, I've met him before. The man who thought discipline meant abstinence, that self-control meant self-neglect, that aging meant becoming invisible. But here's the secret they never taught you. Masturbation after 60 isn't about lust. It's medicine. Neurologically, it keeps dopamine pathways sharp. It keeps the prefrontal cortex firing. Yes, that part of your brain responsible for willpower, focus, and decision-making. Regular arousal sends data to the hypothalamus, the hormonal command center. Tells it, keep producing. We're not done yet. Without it, the message your body receives is silence. No need, no urgency, no purpose. And a body without purpose is just waiting to rot. Look, this isn't spiritual. This is cellular. You ever see what happens when a muscle isn't used? It doesn't just rest. It atrophies. Tissue breaks down. Vessels thin. Signal pathways fade like abandoned roads. The penis? Same rules apply. Use it, or it unlearns how to work. Literally. And let me warn you, once that bridge collapses, even medication won't carry you back across. You can pump all the pills, gadgets, prayers you want, but the foundation's gone. Gone because you bought into the lie that after 60, your need for pleasure makes you perverse. That desire is childish. That being a man means being a machine. Nah. Being a man means knowing when to fight back against what's killing you quietly. So I'll ask you, when did you stop believing you were worth touching? Who convinced you that self-respect meant silence? And how much longer are you going to live like a ghost before something snaps you back to life? Because the truth is, if you're still watching this, you haven't flatlined yet. Not all the way. First comes the fade, but not all at once. It doesn't knock, doesn't scream. It slips in through the cracks, quiet, like smoke under the door. One day you just don't wake up hard, and your brain brushes it off. Maybe I slept weird. Maybe I'm tired. Maybe it's just age. But that's not age, that's erosion. Your circulatory system is starving, and it's been starving longer than you've noticed. See, the penis doesn't just fail, it fades. Blood flow slows, Nitric oxide pathways weaken. Smooth muscle in the corpora cavernosa begins to stiffen, then scar. Fibrosis forms, not the kind you feel, the kind you lose. It's like parking a classic car and never starting the engine. Sure, it looks fine. Until one day, click, nothing. And now even Cialis shrugs its shoulders. Not because it's broken, because you stopped reminding your body that sex still matters. You stopped sending signals, stopped sparking ignition. You didn't break the machine. You just stopped turning it on. Then the fire drops, hormones collapse, and brother, this is where most men go blind. Not because they can't see, but because they've forgotten what real power feels like. You stop feeling pulled toward life. Stop making eye contact. You skip your walk. Your mind skips steps. You snap at the people you love. But underneath it all, it's not personality. It's not attitude. It's testosterone crashing. And here's what almost no doctor will tell you. You can have normal testosterone on paper and still feel gone. Because what matters isn't just the number. It's the rhythm, the feedback loop. Your brain talks to your balls, and they talk back. But only if you keep the conversation going. Every time you feel aroused, every time you stroke your skin, every time you allow release, you're sending a code. We are still in this. We still matter. Don't shut the gates. The hypothalamus listens. It signals the pituitary. The pituitary signals the testes. And the testes say, fire the factory back up. But stop all that. Go weeks, months, no arousal, no release, no contact. And your body makes a decision without your permission. It says, shut it down. No need for testosterone. No reason to supply energy for a function you no longer use. And now you're on the spiral. Your lean muscle begins to vanish. Your sleep fractures. Your dopamine dries up. You forget why you used to care about things. And worst of all, you still don't connect the dots. Because no one told you that the erosion wasn't aging, it was inactivity. That the fatigue wasn't laziness, it was hormonal suffocation. And you're not alone. I've sat across from CEOs and janitors, ex-Marines and quiet teachers. Men who once carried thunder in their chest and now whisper through the day like ghosts because no one taught them how to keep the fire lit. Alone, without shame, without waiting for permission. You think the fix is in a clinic, a patch, a shot, a pill, maybe. But what if it started with your hand, with reclaiming your signal, with reminding your biology that this body still belongs to you? So let's go deeper. What's the lie you built your whole life on? That men aren't supposed to feel? That touch is weak? That discipline means denying yourself into oblivion? Tell me. I'm listening. Write it. Right now. Now we need to talk about your prostate. Yeah, that thing. That little gland no one ever mentioned until it started barking back at you at 3 a.m. You don't hear about it at 30, barely think about it at 40. By 60, it runs your nights and ruins your days. But here's what no one says straight. It's not just age. It's not just the bladder. It's not bad luck. It's backed up pressure. It's tension you've never released. It's congestion. See, your prostate isn't passive. It's a factory. And its job? To build and deliver the bulk of your semen. About 60% of it, actually. That fluid isn't meant to sit. It's meant to move, exit, evacuate, get out. But when you stop engaging, stop releasing, stop flushing the system, that fluid stagnates. It thickens, it festers, and it pushes back. Slow, deep, angry. Now you've got a dull ache under your gut. That weird pressure that makes sitting feel off. The strange sensation like you almost need to pee. But nothing comes. Your sleep broken by midnight bathroom visits. Twice, 3 times, then again at dawn. You think, I'm just getting older. Nah, you're just clogged. And here's where it gets darker. When that congestion builds, it doesn't just make you uncomfortable. It creates inflammation. Inflammation creates friction. And over time, friction invites cellular chaos. That's when words like prostatitis and biopsy start showing up in your chart. There's a Harvard study. It's buried under the noise. But it tracked men over decades and found something wild. Those who ejaculated 21 times or more per month had a significantly lower risk of prostate cancer. Why? Because they kept the pipes moving. They honored the pressure. They didn't let the fuel rot in the tank. This isn't spiritual. This is plumbing. This is pressure science. And you? You've been sitting on a time bomb. I had a man in my office not long ago. 72, widower, quiet guy. Hadn't had sex or masturbated in over 2 years. Said he didn't feel the need, didn't see the point. We ran his labs. PSA was climbing like a ladder in a burning house. Prostate swollen, irritated, congested like a highway at rush hour. He looked at me and said, "Doc, I thought that part of my life was behind me." I told him, "That part is your life, and you just forgot how to claim it." We started slow. Hydration, supplements, pelvic floor activation. But the real shift was in his mind, when he gave himself permission to reconnect, to touch, to release, to move energy that had been buried under grief and shame. He came back 90 days later looking lighter. Told me his sleep returned. Pressure was gone. Felt like he found the keys to an engine he thought was junked. You don't need a lover to unlock this. You need truth. You need movement. You need to remember that your prostate still needs you, just like your heart does. And here's the unspoken damage most men carry. They stop touching themselves. And over time, they stop feeling themselves. The prostate's not just a gland. It's the core of your masculine system, the axis of creation, control, and chemistry. When you let it rot, a part of you does too. So I'll ask you, real talk. When was the last time you touched yourself? With purpose. Not to escape, not to numb, but to cleanse, to reset, to tell your body, I'm still alive, I still matter. Keep the machine running. Write it in the comments. Not for likes, for you. Or click away. Like everyone else who'll stay in pain because they're too afraid to look themselves in the mirror and admit what they need. But if you're still here, you already know. You're not like them. But here's the part no one warns you about. No chart picks it up. No lab result flags it. You won't hear it in the waiting room. You'll feel it. In the silence between breaths. The most dangerous consequence. Doesn't scream, doesn't bleed. It vanishes you, quietly. It's not erectile dysfunction. It's not low T. It's not a swollen prostate. It's you. Disappearing. It's the slow death of self. The erosion of the man beneath the skin. And it doesn't happen because you got old. It happens because you stopped recognizing your own reflection. Because somewhere along the line, you mistook survival for living and numbness for strength. When a man stops touching himself, he doesn't just lose pleasure. He loses contact with his body, with his mind, with the fire that made him walk different. This isn't about sex. It's about signal. You are a system of nerves and memory, a feedback loop of breath, thought, and blood. And when that loop goes quiet, your instincts rust, your awareness dulls, your spirit starts leaking out the cracks you've learned to ignore. I've seen it. That dim in the eyes, that shuffle in the walk, that hesitance to speak first, to look up, to belong anywhere anymore. I've had men, strong men, tell me, "Doc, I feel like I don't exist." Not unloved, unreal, like shadows living in the outline of who they used to be, not because they're broken, because they're unplugged from their source, from their inner electricity. You were never meant to go this long without feeling, without releasing, without checking in with your own nervous system and saying, "Hey, we're still here. Let me give it to you straight." Your body isn't just meat and muscle, it's software, and the act of arousal, release, intimacy, even with yourself. That's not just a desire, it's a reboot. Every touch sends electrical signals to your limbic system. Every orgasm floods your brain with dopamine, oxytocin, prolactin. And these aren't feel-good chemicals, they're identity markers. They remind your system that you're human, that you're safe, that you're still in it. Without them, depression starts to whisper like an old friend. Your memory stutters, your ambition thins out, and loneliness stops feeling like a phase, starts feeling like your name. Here's the twist no one teaches. Intimacy, especially solo, is not just a craving. It's a biological mirror. When you stop touching yourself, you stop seeing yourself. You stop hearing what your body's trying to say. And over time, that silence becomes normal. You normalize the hollow. You accept the dimensions. You settle for low volume when you were built to burn. But the scariest part? Most men don't know they've gone missing. They think it's just aging, that life is supposed to feel beige after 60. But that's not aging. That's abandonment of the self. You traded connection for comfort, discipline for disconnection. You gave up the ritual of feeling. And now, you don't know how to come back. So I'll ask you something no one else will. When's the last time you felt yourself come back to life, without needing anyone else to validate it? Not for lust, not for fantasy, not to numb out, but to whisper to your nervous system, "I'm still here. Wake the hell up." Because if that hasn't happened in a long time, you're not broken. You're just disconnected. And disconnection is curable, but only if you're willing to get honest. Right now, in the comments, tell me, where did you go numb? What did you stop touching, emotionally, physically, spiritually, because you thought you weren't supposed to anymore? Type it. Claim it. Let me say this, like it's the last thing you'll ever hear from me. Because for some of you, it might be. Masturbation in old age isn't about pleasure. It isn't about porn. It's not about chasing teenage sparks or proving something to the mirror. It's about keeping your pulse in your own hands. It's about life. Not the surface kind. The deep in your bones, "I'm still here" kind. The kind that lets you walk into a room without apologizing for existing. See, after 60, the game changes. You're not fighting for performance. You're fighting for presence. You're fighting to remind your system it's still online, that the signal hasn't gone dark, that the man inside the flesh is still moving, still hungry, still sacred. This isn't weakness. This is war. Silent, daily, internal. You think you're abstaining. What you're actually doing is retreating. You think quitting touch is discipline, but all you're doing is starving the system that holds your spine up straight. That feeds your hormones, stabilizes your mind, and roots you in the now. Because when you stop touching your body starts forgetting you. Muscle memory fades. Circuits rust. That quiet current of masculine vitality, gone, not overnight, but like a leaking faucet, drip by drip by drip, until the sink runs dry and you don't even notice. And you don't need to be obsessed. You need to be consistent, even once a week. Think about that. Just one time, with intention, not to escape, but to declare. You send a broadcast through your whole biology. We're still alive. The nerves respond. The blood flows. The dopamine lights up. Testosterone whispers, copy that, and your body, like a dog waiting for its name, wakes. This isn't self-indulgence, it's self-maintenance. It's staying tuned into a signal most men lose somewhere between resignation and routine. It's the most private act of rebellion you'll ever commit. One hand, no noise, no audience. Just a moment between you and yourself, telling the world you're not done. Because I've seen what happens when men go quiet, when they turn themselves off without even knowing. They get smaller, not physically, energetically. The shoulders round, the voice softens, the light behind the eyes flickers, and one day they look up, and they're a guest in their own skin. That's the real death. Not the one with a casket, the one where you're still breathing, but nothing inside is moving. So if this cracked something open in you, even just a little, you're one of us now. This isn't just a video. This isn't just a channel. Darkside Demeanor is a movement, a brotherhood for men who've tasted that quiet decay and chose to wake the hell up. We don't do hype. We don't do shame. We do truth. Uncomfortable, raw, biologically undeniable truth. We do fire in the dark. So if you felt that, if you heard me with your body, not just your ears, click subscribe, not for me, for you. Join the rebellion, not loud, not flashy, just sacred, like a vow you make when no one's watching. Because that's what this is, a quiet revolt. For the men who refuse to disappear without a fight. And if you're still here, brother, you've already begun.